Okay, we should be live. It is pulling it up right now. It should be processing. I'm just going to kind of be talking here just in case. It looks like I got the notification, so we should be good. I'm going to go ahead and post this in the group. So give me just a minute. And I'll be here, and we're going to be talking about WordPress themes. I've been having a lot of questions about this, and I just want to kind of have a really informal conversation now. I would love to create a more formal post and resource about this. Maybe this conversation can help to fuel that even more, okay? So if you have questions, feel free to jump into the chat. Looks like no one's here yet, according to my stats here, and that's okay. It's an unannounced, random, sporadic live stream, so I'm not sure if we'll have anyone joining in live. If not, and you're watching later, I'm glad you're here. I think you can still leave comments on the stream in the feed there. I haven't used the new features with YouTube streaming very much yet, so I'm not 100% sure how that works, but definitely leave comments there. Leave comments in the group. I'd love to talk more about this and keep this conversation going. Okay, so I'm going to go over here to the group just so I can just make sure that I've got this posted. And there we go. Okay, so that's posted in the group. It should take a few minutes and people will start joining. Let's just give it a minute. Okay. So basically, what I have here that you're seeing on the screen is just a blank WordPress install. So I use Cloudways, and it makes it really easy for me. That's Cloudways, my hosting company. Makes it really easy for me just to spin up a new WordPress instance. So I did that. I was going to do that on stream as well, but I didn't want my sensitive information being there. Like, it has database names and passwords, even though they're blurred out. There's enough information that it could be a problem. So I just went ahead and started with a blank, brand new WordPress installation, and that's why you're seeing this like funky URL here. If you read it there, you could follow along with what we have. In fact, I'll go ahead and paste this into the chat so that you can go to that website if you want to. That's what we have right now, just the default standard WordPress 2017 theme, nothing special. I don't think I have any plugins. Okay, so Kismet and Hello Dolly, just the standard stuff. And in fact, we'll go ahead and just delete both of these for now. So very, very blank and basic. Now, I'm just going to, since we're doing this and I'm still waiting for some people to come in here. By the way, there's a couple people in here now. Feel free to chime in at any point. Go ahead and type into the chat. I'll be able to see your comments there, and we can I can answer any specific questions you have about WordPress themes. I'm going to be talking about kind of what I would do if I were starting right now. If I needed to build a photography website right now based on what I know in the world of themes, what would I do? So that's what I'm going to talk about. Very casually, don't have a plan. I pulled up a few things. I was like, okay, here's some options. Pulled up some tabs and started up a live stream. So we're going to go over that. But I also have lots of experience. Svar, what's up? How's it going? So, you started that conversation, and I've had a whole bunch of other people asking about WordPress themes lately. I've been able to get my hands on some flow themes. I've been able to use Profoto 7 and 6, and I work a lot with Showit. I work with pretty much a broad spectrum of themes, and so I have a decent amount of experience with themes across the board. But like I said, right now I'm going to keep focusing on like what I would do specifically and why, and then we can kind of go from there with any specific questions that come in. I'm just going to check back here in the Facebook group really quick to see if we have any other. Okay, cool. All right, so as I was saying, I have a blank WordPress, and like I said, since there's a couple people here, I'm waiting a little bit longer just to see if anybody else is going to join in. I'm going to show you, like when I install WordPress, like I said, I just deleted all the plugins. There's nothing here. We can dismiss this welcome to WordPress, and then up here in the screen options, a lot of people don't even know about this, but we can get rid of that. We don't necessarily need this. I don't even really need any of these, honestly, but if you want to leave a quick draft in there or something like that, whatever. Pretty much this welcome screen is fairly useless. I don't really use it. There are some cool like widgets you can install here for stats. Some different plugins will have their own little dashboard widgets, and you can use those if you want them. I rarely use any of this. I'd be interested to hear if anyone else has any dashboard widgets that they really use frequently. I know a lot of times there are analytics plugins that will have widgets built in, and those can be kind of cool to get a really quick at a glance, what's going on with your analytics, but I rarely use any of this. Okay, so let's go ahead and start talking about themes and what I would do. Now, personally, I like things to be a little more on the developer side. I like things to be a little more raw and basic, and to give me a lot of access to customizations. I like things that follow coding best practices, where whenever you create a theme, there's two ways you can go. There's one way where it's like, I can go completely, I want to cover all of the bases and do this exactly like what I want this website to look like in the end. If I'm going to create a theme, I can create it to work a very specific way so that people can't really customize it much, other than like maybe changing the photos and the font colors or something very simple like that, right? Maybe you don't even have those options. Maybe you could change the photos and the logo and some text, and that's it. And that's kind of one extreme end. And then the other extreme end is more like, hey, we're not going to do any kind of customization here. We're going to give you the core files that WordPress needs to recognize that this is a theme, and then you do whatever you want with them. And I usually don't really want to be that far on the extreme end, because it takes a lot of, you're going to have to write some PHP, and you're going to have to definitely do a ton of CSS. So what I'm looking for typically is that I want a theme to have some really solid bones. I want it to have the basic styling. So I want it to have heading styles and basic paragraph styles and spacing. I want it to have I want it to have a bit of, I want to have some default styling for what's going to happen if there is no styling. This is one of the things that I learned whenever I started working with blank themes and starter themes that were literally just the bare bones, and I would develop something. It would work great in my use case, but then I would realize if there's anything else that I want to do that falls outside of something that I've already coded, then I have to add all this extra code and all these extra styles to like fallback styles and all this stuff. It's really tough being a theme developer and coming up with the right combination of the foundational things that are like needed by the most use cases, and then not going too far so that you have all this bloat for things that people aren't typically going to use. Finding that balance can be really hard. Okay, this is one of the reasons why we run into a lot of problems with themes. So anyway, trying to get back on the right train of thought here. Let me check over here. I got a couple notifications. Just want to see if anything else is going on here. So let's just talk about a few of the directions that people will typically go with WordPress themes. Sometimes people, I already kind of talked about like the spectrum of where themes are, but let's talk about for photographers specifically. Whenever you ask a question in a Facebook group, like what WordPress theme should I use, you're going to get a fairly standard set of answers, right? Most people photographers are going to use either one of the made for photographer themes like ProPhoto, like Flow themes. There are a handful of others, but not a ton. There are going to be some people who are going to recommend kind of generic builders, and like, for example, Divi is popular with a lot of photographers, especially because people like Melissa Love have created a lot of Divi child themes for photographers, and so there's a lot of people out there using Divi. You'll have a bunch of people who are recommending things like ThemeForest. Okay, if someone recommends ThemeForest, there are very, very few themes that I would ever recommend using on ThemeForest. So I'm going to tell you, do your due diligence whenever you look at ThemeForest themes and make sure that what you're getting is exactly what you want, because I have probably downloaded 100 different ThemeForest themes over the years, and I can't really say that I was ever impressed with a single one. I remember whenever I first downloaded like the X theme, which was really popular for a very long time, kind of before Divi really took off. It was extremely popular. Still, it gets used a lot. But I mean, like that was cool at the time, but even that was overwhelming. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of ThemeForest. I don't like how their model works. I rarely see good stuff. There's one developer, I wish I could remember his name off the top of my head. He's in the Fuel Your Photos group, and he has, let me just see if I can, I think it is, yeah. All right, so it's Color Melon. He sells his themes on ThemeForest, or at least it did. And I felt that these themes were very high quality. Like, the guy behind them is a very smart developer who has really good processes and really knows what he's doing. I was very impressed with what I saw. Now, this is kind of on the end of, hey, I'm making this a very specific way. You should use it this way. There's not a lot of customization. But if you like what you see as it is, it's a decent option, okay? So that's one of the only things I've ever found on ThemeForest that I really liked. And then the other recommendation that you'll get, especially in Fuel Your Photos, is because I've talked about it so much, is that people will tell you to use kind of a base theme like Ocean, like GeneratePress, Astra, Page Builder framework, and then use Elementor. Now, Elementor is my theme builder, or page builder of choice. Beaver Builder is also good. You know, Divi is okay too. I used to use Divi for everything. I just don't love Divi anymore. Okay, so that I'm not going to really get too much into why I don't love Divi in this little stream, but Elementor is my current choice. I pulled this up because if you go to the Elementor blog and look at some of the most recent posts, especially look at this theme builder header and footer and then introducing theme builder, check these out. In fact, let's go ahead and just look at one of these now here on the stream. Should be able to do this. You should be able to hear it if I play it.
If you've created WordPress websites before, you know there
if you're
are
watching, tell me if you can hear
you
the
just can't change without code. I'm talking about
video.
Your header, footer, single post, and archive. And screaming at your developer probably won't help either. I'm excited to introduce Elementor Pro 2.0 Theme Builder. In Elementor Pro 2.0,
I'll speed this up a little bit if I can.
the overall concept of templates by adding new template types. Headers, footers, single posts, and archives. Let's begin by creating a header. Under Elementor,
So the really cool thing about Elementor now
header.
is that you can build
Look how cool. Choose a
a
pre-designed block for your
template
header, or build it from scratch. Here you see the Elementor editor that
with
you know
any
and love,
theme.
opened in the exact same place
I
as
say
the
any
area.
theme, not really any
We'll make a
theme,
few
but
design
any
changes so you
basic
get the idea.
theme.
Lightning fast, right? The new header's already done. All that's left to do is to implement the revised header on your site. How do you do
Like,
it?
it doesn't matter.
Hit
You could use
publish when the conditions
2017.
window
It
opens.
wouldn't matter.
Here choose where the header will be shown. Across the site, only in a specific category, or excluding a particular page, any condition you might need. Here's our old header. Refresh the page,
Notice they're using
and the newly
2017
created
here.
header appears. Creating a footer, also a piece of cake. It's the same process. Add a new template, select the footer type, a list of blocks opens, and choose a footer block. Now it's all about customizing the design, setting the conditions, and publishing it. There you go. We built a brand new header and footer for our site. Next up, designing our blog. Unlike static pages, like the homepage or about that only have static content, the blog has dynamic content, spread across however many blog posts you have. When adding a new blog post, its content dynamically fills a certain design framework. And this is exactly what
really
we now
cool, by
build
the way.
with Elementor. So add a
You've
new
been able to
template,
do this in
type
some
single,
frameworks before, but now that you can do this in Elementor, it
Choose a
just
block,
makes it
or start
so
from scratch.
powerful.
A single post is made up of dynamic widgets. Post title, post content, featured image, metadata, and so on. These widgets are in the panel under Theme Elements. When you're working on dynamic content, like single posts, you'll want to see how it looks on different posts. So click the preview icon, hit Settings, and here under Preview Dynamic Content As, choose the source of the content, and then preview your dynamic content to see how the design looks. play around and edit the single post however you want. When you're happy with the results, pick your conditions and publish. Now we can see our live blog with the new blog post design. What's neat about this feature is that you can create several single post templates and attribute each of them to a certain category or any other taxonomy. On to creating an archive page. Archive is
It's funny because she just says, or any other taxonomy, and kind of rolls off like that's no big deal. But being able to create a different template for different taxonomies, for different categories, for custom taxonomies, for custom post types, this just makes WordPress development like insanely flexible without even really needing to know any kind of code. And you can actually do some stuff with advanced custom fields. This makes it so you could create a very, very custom WordPress site with a very basic interface, even if you're not a developer. You have to watch some tutorials and like get used to the way that it works, but it is incredible what can be done with this.
Shows a chosen assortment of posts. It can be used as your main blog page, as a main category, other taxonomy pages, or as a search results page. Let's add a template. Type archive. Choose a block. And here, customize the archive posts widget. Publish. And set it to apply across the entire site. We successfully customized our header, footer, blog page, and blog posts without any roadblocks of coding. As you've seen, the Elementor theme builder significantly expands your reach, setting you free to design any part of your site.
So, by the way, this is pretty recent with Elementor. This is, a little bit over a month old. And the header and footer, they've already been adding new features there. They've already started adding, there's a 404 page editor. It's pretty incredible. They're bringing more and more stuff to Elementor, and it's only going to get better. The only thing I'm concerned about with Elementor is exactly what their plan is whenever Gutenberg really rolls out and starts to become prominent, and people are using blocks inside of the standard core WordPress editor and potentially trying then to take over with Elementor. Like, I think it's going to be confusing for some people. It doesn't concern me, because I understand how those two could relate to each other, but I think a lot of people are going to create problems for themselves whenever they're using a page builder and WordPress rolls out their own page builder with Gutenberg. So it's really meant to be a replacement for the WordPress content editor, and a lot of these page builders can still pull in the content editor or vice versa. Like this, the page builder can replace all of the content from the content area. And so it doesn't necessarily conflict, but I think it'll be interesting to see how they make those two things work together. That's my only kind of future-proofing concern about Elementor. Other than that, I mean, they've been doing incredible things for well over a year now. Since I've been using them, I've been impressed with every new update, everything they've been releasing. Sure, there's going to be bugs. There's going to be little things that, there's going to be problems. I know a lot of people have had some little bugs, and the more plugins you add and the more things that you do custom, the more likely you might have some sort of conflict with something like Elementor. It's not perfect, okay, but it is a great tool for a non-developer, and even for a developer potentially who's trying to save time. Elementor is an incredible tool. There's a free version of Elementor. The free version is not going to give you as much power as the pro version, and the pro version is not very expensive. It is only like $50, I think, for a site. I have the unlimited sites version. It's $50 per year. You don't have to keep renewing, but that's going to get you your updates and things like that. Not necessarily going to have problems with like security updates, but you're going to have problems with like, all these new features they're rolling out. That's what makes them able to keep charging that fee every year. And by the way, they don't advertise this, and who knows, they may stop offering it at some point. But ever since I've been subscribed, which has been over a year now, the renewal is 50% off. So it's $50 the first time, and then the next year it's $25. Okay. Again, they don't advertise that, and they have the right to like take that offer away if they want to. But I'm just telling you right now, that's the offer in the back end. Whenever you go to renew, it's 50% off at this price. Okay, so let's actually go ahead and we'll just use 2017 for right this minute, and we're going to go ahead and install Elementor. Nope, not install the plugin, so we're going to add a plugin. So Elementor, the base plugin, is going to be in the repo, in the repository, and you can just search for Elementor, and it's this one. Install it. That part is free. Just activate it. Now I've got the pro version here because, like I said, I have a paid account, and so I'm going to go ahead and add that one as well. So we're just going to upload that. So you'll just go into your account and download it and then upload it here. All right. And then I'm going to pull this off the screen so I can activate my license really quick. Okay, let's pull that back over. All right, so that was really fast and easy. That's all activated now. And so now we have, the site with Elementor. So it's still going to look exactly the same right now. Nothing has changed because I haven't done anything. I haven't changed anything. I haven't started using Elementor on the site. But we can start to do whatever we want. We can, like you just saw in those videos, we'll go ahead and start with the template, and we will add a header, for example. All right, and then inside of this header, once we start, it's going to give us these little blocks. In that little demo, it only gave you 1, and notice that now they already have 12 here. So you have a lot of starting points, which is really cool. I imagine that there will be more. Look, it even says, stay tuned, more awesome templates coming real soon. I still believe more and more people are going to be offering these in packs so that you can download them. I plan on doing that as soon as I can get caught up with the SEO agency stuff. I really hope that I can offer this kind of thing where I have some designs that people can download that you can just start right from that. But for right now, there's some really good stuff here. So you can pick where you want your logo and stuff like that. Let's just pick one of these to start with. Let's just go with this one. Go to insert. And you can start from scratch too. It can be blank. So now you can see up here, this is the header that we're working with. And let's see what this is. There are no menus in your site. Okay, well that makes sense. And then we have a logo that's basically nothing. So let's just, okay, so this is pulling from the site logo. That's kind of cool. That's new as well, by the way, that dynamic field. So what we're going to do is we'll hit publish on this so that it's saved. We'll put it across the entire site. And we're going to go back over to WordPress. And we're going to go into appearance and customize. Now, this is one of those things where this is the importance of a theme. The customizer in WordPress is what kind of controls your default styles. Okay, the different sections and layouts of your site, the standard parts of your site, widgets, menus, blog layout, site layout, width. A lot of those things are going to be done in the customizer. Every theme is going to have different options within the customizer. Now we're using 2017 here, and so there's not going to be a ton of options built in to this because it's a really basic theme. This is where you might want to start looking at some of those other themes that I mentioned earlier. For example, Astra, Generate Press, Ocean WP, and WordPress Page Builder Framework. So far, you're saying that you rarely use that, mostly because my theme's not really using it much. Exactly, yeah, it totally depends on the theme. A lot of themes, especially older themes, did not use the customizer. In the past, probably 12 to 18 months, it's become more and more of a push from the WordPress community for themes to put all of the customizations in the customizer. They really, really started pushing that hard. And most of the more modern themes are going to have the majority of the styles goes directly into the customizer. Now, I say that, and you'll see that, for example, something like a Pro Photo, something like Flow Themes, and most of their stuff, they have their own custom customizers, okay? And those are going to handle all the same things that the WordPress customizer would. Whenever you use something like Profoto or like Flow Themes, you are using their custom system, their custom solution. And it's not really a strictly WordPress, they're not trying to stay on the core WordPress. They're trying to create a solution that's easy to use, that they have their own flexibility, is proprietary, okay? Everything in the customizer is it's not proprietary. It's kind of a standard. Let me check my Facebook notifications really quick. Okay. Just see over here. All right. Let me come back over here. All right. So I like to find a theme that does really use the customizer well. And I particularly like these 4 that I've showed you here. I've used all of them. And they all have their strengths and weaknesses. GeneratePress is not quite as, like, here's the thing. You could use these themes as a fallback with no page builder. Like, if your page builder broke or you just turned it off, you could totally just fall back on Astra or Ocean, for example. They would be fine. You could use them without a page builder. They're still intended to be used with page builders, honestly, but you could use them without it, and it would be fine. Not so much with GeneratePress. You could. Your site would look like, kind of like what you see here in this, something from, the 90s or whatever. Not quite that old. It looks like 10 years old, and that's okay. It's like that on purpose because they're trying to make it really simple, and you're able to kind of take over these sections with hooks and all kinds of things. This is really developer friendly. I love GeneratePress for that, especially whenever you're going to be taking over all this stuff anyway, whenever you're using Elementor. Ocean. So I started off using Ocean. In fact, Fuel Your Photos is still kind of on Ocean. It's technically on Kindling. Kindling is a theme that I was building, and it was a fork of Ocean. So Ocean, pretty much any WordPress theme is open source. It has to be because WordPress is open source and it inherits the license of WordPress, and there's certain things you can copyright, but for the most part, the code is required to be open source, and most of these are intentionally open source. Like, hey, we're creating this and we're showing you our code. And like Ocean, you can go on GitHub and you can just like find all the code and you can contribute and you can create a fork. And we did this, and this is not unethical. Some people believe that it is, but in this case, we like specifically talked to the owner, the creator of Ocean. We said, hey, we're going to create a fork of this. Is that okay with you? And he said, yeah, man, go for it. So totally a friendly kind of relationship where it's like he created this base and we said we're going to fork that, which is just like we're going to take what you have here and we're going to separate off, take all of that and start our own from there. We did that. We kind of tried to make the customizer more intuitive. It was really cool, don't get me wrong, but it just became too big of a project, especially when I was starting to do more with the SEO agency. And so I just said, you know what, screw this. I don't have time to build a custom theme right now. Don't have the ability to support a theme, and that became a big problem for people using it. I told people, hey, use this at your own risk, but still people needed help, and I was like, no, I'm not going to help you because this is just something I'm doing for free because I want to do it. But so I like Ocean. Since we forked it, they've made a lot of improvements to Ocean, and they've also added some things to Ocean that I kind of felt like they didn't need to add to Ocean. And so it's one of those things where it's cool. It's a good theme, but I feel like it's kind of gone the way of like having too many features, and I think some of these other options are just as good. You can kind of look at their extensions, and these are kind of like premium things that you can buy a premium version of Astra or Ocean, and they'll have some extra features and things you can do more easily where you'd have to have code or you'd have to know how to develop these things on your own otherwise. So I'm just trying to decide right now if I want to pull one of these other themes. This is the new kid on the block kind of right now. But notice like all of these say, 100 millisecond load time, 99% speed test. Just by itself, it's 47 kilobytes on GTmetrix, so they're trying to show you these themes are really fast and efficient on their own. They're extremely lightweight. There's very little code. It's the basics. It's the fallbacks. It's the customizer options to give you the ability to not use page builder if you don't want to. Sorry, I was reading comments and stuff. Yes, I did recommend Ocean, and I still think it's fine. It's a good theme. Nothing wrong with it, really. All right, so let's actually just use GeneratePress for now. I believe it's in the repo. So let's go back over here. Let's close this. Let's go to Appearance and Themes. Add new, and we'll search for GeneratePress. There it is. Now, GeneratePress does also have a premium option. If you look at it, it has cool things like you could adjust some of these other things like the page header and spacing and all this stuff. We're going to do all this stuff with the hooks. That one's really cool if you're a developer. We're going to do all this stuff with Elementor, though, so we don't need any of that. We're just going to use it like this. Let's go ahead and I already activated that. So let's go look at this now and see what this looks like with that activated. We've already started with Elementor, so we already have that header, by the way. All right, looks pretty good. I'll close that so we can see. Very basic. It's fine. It's totally what we're looking for right now. All right, so let's go back over here. Go back into Elementor. Now, well, actually, we're going to go over here into Appearance and then to Menus. Well, I guess that's not going to work. We need to add some pages. This is a blank. We'll even trash that. Add new. Home. Oh, that was just a draft. Hang on, let me go back and publish that. We'll do about. We'll do blog. We'll do pricing. And we'll do contact. Just so we have some pages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's add one more just so we'll have an even number. Let's do portfolio. All right. Now, let's come in here and go back to Appearance, Menus. Oh, we've already got them added here. Home, About, Blog, Contact. We don't need Home twice. Home, About. Let's put Contact at the end. Let's put Portfolio here. Blog, Pricing, Contact. Let's start with that. That's good. Menu 1. We'll just call it, we'll just create menu. Keep it as menu 1. We're going to hit this primary menu checkbox. All right, another thing we're going to do really quick is we're going to go over in here and we're going to say test photography site. Oh, nope. It goes here. Best photographers ever. We're going to save that. We're going to go into reading. We're going to change the home page to be home. We're going to leave this blank to select because we're going to make a page for that. We don't want WordPress to generate the posts page. Okay. And then we also need to go into the customizer. And we should go into site identity and we're going to select a logo. Let me just find something here. I think this was just like stuff I was pulling as inspiration. I don't think I have a license for any of this, but this is just a demo. It's not going to be used for anything. So we're going to crop this. Obviously, I would be using a real logo, and I would have already had it cropped or whatever. Okay. It's really bad resolution. Just ignore that. All right, so that's good for now. We're going to hit publish. Now that added that here because over in Elementor, it's using the site logo. Now we could tell it we don't want you to use the site logo. We could edit this, or basically we could change this widget. We would delete this widget. This is a dynamic widget. So over here under the site, the theme elements where I have, this should be right here somewhere. Site logo. That's what this is using. If we just use an image here, it would still work just fine. All right. So let's see if we can. This says there are no menus. I need to. Let me see if I saved that. Yeah. Okay. So I got to refresh this so I can pull in that stuff we already did. All right, see, it's got the menu here now, and we've got this. Now, what I want to do is I want to make this full width so that it's not wrapping like this. So we're going to click here, and we're going to go to stretch section, and then we're going to go to full width, and I think that's probably all I need to do for right now. I want to align this left so that looks right. And maybe I don't want, maybe I want some padding on this one. I could always come over here and do like a little bit of right padding or something. Probably looks pretty good. We could adjust the height of all of this. So let's go in here and say, by just pulling this down, it's automatically going to adjust the height of everything else to up to a certain extent. Otherwise, we would come in here and go into, I haven't done this enough yet because it's brand new to know exactly where all this is. I'm not going to get into all of that right now, but you have a lot of flexibility over editing this section. All right, so that's looking pretty good. We could change there's some really cool stuff we can do here. I think it's in advanced. We can set, where is it? It might be in style. Background. We can change the background if we want. Background overlay, border. Let's put a bit of that's already on. Okay, so we got a little box shadow. You can see it there. Shape divider. Oh, this is cool too. You can do like crazy stuff like that. Probably not. Let's try to find one that's actually kind of cool. Like something like that, and it would potentially, stay with it. You could. There's all kind of cool stuff you can do there. I don't want to do that right now. There is an option here somewhere. It might be in this. I can't remember where it is, so you'd have to look in the on Elementor's site or whatever. But you can totally make this sticky if you want, which is cool. It's one of those things that's like a premium feature in most of those other themes. I really want to know where that is. Maybe it's in toggle breakpoint style. I kind of want to find out.
You want to create a stunning website?
No, we definitely don't want to create a stunning website with Wix.
Let me show you how it's done.
Ironic.
So one of those really commonly asked questions is, how do you a weekly new content pull we've got a section at the top which gives us the ability to fill my header.
It's one of the great things about Elementor.
We're going to split this section. We're going to create a new section in there. We're going to split it into 2 parts. And you can see we're going to come in, make sure that everything is laid out. I'm just going to select the entire row, and we're going to put our background color in there. So we're going to come over to text in there. If we want to come back in and adjust anything, we can do that and say exclude if we want. You've already in different themes will have different. Like I say, your template may be different. It's gone through our template. You'll see there's our heading, and if we scroll down, absolutely nothing happens. It stays in place. So
now we're about to get the part we're looking for.
Well, we've got to do one more little thing. So let's come back to our templates, go back in and edit it with Elementor.
Sorry, I watch all my stuff at least 1.5.
So what we're going to do is come back up, select our entire row, come over to the advanced section, and under advanced you can see we've got scrolling effect. We're going to click on there, and we've only got one option available, and that is sticky.
Alright, let's see if we have that. I don't have that option. I wonder if it has to be turned on or something. Let's update this. And let's go. Let's go back over to WordPress really quick. I want to just see something. Interesting. I wonder why that's not there.
We'll click on that. We can now tell it, do we want this to be sticky on all devices?
Am I missing something? Anybody who's watching.
Different types of devices. I'll leave it with all 3 for now.
Sticky
click
on.
Update in there. I'm going to jump back over, refresh our page, and now scroll down the page, and you can see there's our sticky header with our semi-transparent background staying in place as we scroll down the page. Simple as that, really? Well, that pretty much wraps up how easy it is to create sticky navigation using Elementor Pro 2.0. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up.
See if anybody had. Ah, okay, so we can't stretch the section. Interesting. Okay. See how useful YouTube comments can be. All right, so what it's saying is that we can't use this feature and the sticky feature together. And I understand why, because this is using a JavaScript to override the HTML. And so at this point, we don't really need that since we chose full width here anyway. Okay, so we're going to go back over here, and we are going to turn that on. Now it sticks. I like that effect, personally. All right, let's hit update on that. This is fun. I like doing this kind of stuff. Right now, there's not very many people watching because I didn't announce this, but hey, Svar, you're here, and that's what's important, right? You asked the question, so. And there we go. We have a header. And obviously, you know, you could go in there and adjust styling for the menu if you don't want that silly purple color. There's this. Where's that underline? I'm not trying to be precise right now. It's kind of cool. There's some other really cool stuff you can do with this. It's kind of fun. So just the text. It's cool. I like that underline. That was cool. Yeah, we don't need that for right now. It's got different breakpoint options here. Cool. Anyway, I'm not going to mess with that right now. That's beyond the point. Okay, let me just double check on comments back in the Facebook group really quick. Yeah, let's see. Rudy's talking about Profoto 7. They're big Profoto fans. I want to like Profoto. I do like Profoto. I do. It is really brilliant what they've done with Profoto. To me, personally, this system is a little more intuitive. However, and so far we're going to get to this here in just a minute, it does require more plugins for certain types of things that you may want to do. Okay. Real quick, I just want to give this a little bit of a left padding. Something like that. Hey, what's up? Hellabora. What about site loading times and the impact on SEO? Okay, can you tell me any more specifically about what you're trying to ask there? Like, are you talking about specifically with Elementor, or are you talking about with WordPress themes in general? I'd love to know what you mean so that I can answer that in a way that really makes more sense for you. Yeah, okay, so it's a pretty common thing that people will say, like, if you had Elementor, you're going to add all this loading time. It's not Elementor in particular. The ones like Divi, and even worse if you go back to something like Visual Composer, which is now named forget what, like those have been historically known to add a lot of bulk to pages. And even Elementor is going to add some extra code. It's going to add some JavaScript. It's going to add some HTML that wouldn't necessarily be there. But the balance is that you have a ton more flexibility. Like, you don't need to know code. If you just went with something like Genesis, for example, right off the bat, and you don't, like, you use maybe a child theme for Genesis, and they've got a few options, and like it's very, very limited. You have to like use some kind of column shortcode to even like get 2 columns. It's so silly. To me, it almost makes it like, okay, we might as well go back to, you missed the first part of the stream, but I was talking about themes where it's kind of already done. It's like the way that you want it from the beginning, and that's probably more like what you're going for. If you want something that's ridiculously fast and there's very little code, find something that's already exactly what you want and you don't need to customize it. Okay? If you want the power to customize and do whatever you want, you're going to have some sacrifice, but the load here is very minimal. Okay, I'll do a speed test on this whenever I add a couple more things. I'm not going to spend a ton more time on this. Maybe another 20 or 30 minutes. We'll add a few more sections and things, and then I will run a speed test so you can see. But it's pretty quick. I haven't ever had any real issues with that. The great thing is, I mean, they did build Elementor in a way where if you don't use something, it doesn't add the code. There have been a lot of builders in the past that have added a lot of JavaScript regardless of, or extra CSS files regardless of whether you use those elements. Now that's something that you do have to keep in mind. Okay, so I say these things because I come from a background where I understand the impact of what I'm adding to the page, but a lot of people don't. They don't understand the impact, so they'll add every little feature, right? So they'll add this cool like animation here, and then they'll use some font awesome here, and they'll use some like 4 different Google fonts on the page, and they'll use this different animation for the gallery, and they'll use like just all kinds of crap like that, where it's going to add a bunch of different CSS files. It's going to add a lot of different JavaScript files, and that's when you start to really have that extra page load. Okay, so if you're not using all of those miscellaneous features, it's not going to be quite as big of a problem. Still, I'm not like completely in love with, like, the one thing that I don't like about Elementor is that they will nest sections like 15 layers deep. And I mean, HTML is so fast. Browsers can read that stuff like it doesn't really even matter. But it is a little messier. The other thing is you do have a lot of like overrides. So you might have your theme that has some basic styles, and then Elementor overrides those styles, and then a section might override the template style or the Elementor style. And the more you add on top of it, the more like you start to get a mess. Okay, so people can make messes with these, but you don't have to. You don't have to. All right, let's go ahead and we've already got this saved. We're going to go ahead and go back to WordPress, to the dashboard. We're going to go to my templates again, and we're going to add a footer. We'll add new footer. We're really don't need to give it a name right now. All right, and we're going to just use, oh, look, these are pro. These are new. These are cool. They already have opt-ins built in. I like it. Let's do this one. Yeah, I like that. Now this is just for a starting point. We could do whatever we want with this. Notice this has like a gray background. If we drop this over, it's going to kind of give us a preview of what this might look like on a page. Looks like it's got a little bit of a border here, maybe. Can't quite tell. Let's see if it does. All right, so it's got this top padding. It does have that top border of 5 pixels. I don't like that. Let's get rid of it. Interesting that it's very close to the same gray. It's a very slightly different gray. I don't know if you can see that on the stream or not. Let's see about. So we have a white header. Let's just keep everything as white right now. So we're gonna change this background color to. We'll just clear it. Actually, we'll set it to white. Okay. All right, and then obviously we could come in here and we could change these social icons. We can change all these links. Let's change the call to action just for the heck of it. And the cool thing now, you can just type right in here. This is really fun. Find out. Hey. Just make it a really simple opt-in form, you know. And there's all kinds of cool stuff you can integrate with this. By the way, you can integrate it with your email list, or you can obviously, if you're in the EU, you got to do all this whole GDPR stuff now. So maybe this kind of simple opt-in. I'm interested to see what happens with these really simple opt-ins and how they go in the future. But I'm not going to get into that right now. Let's just publish that, and it's going to ask us the conditions. We're going to add, and we're going to say the entire site. It's cool for now. All right. All right, so now we have a footer, and we have a header, and that's across our entire site. So on the About page, it's the same. On the Portfolio page, it's the same. The cool thing is, though, I could add a different footer template and then assign it to a specific page, a specific post type, a specific category, tag, only on the blog, all kinds of cool stuff like that. So it's just a simple matter of adding another template, just like we just did, or customize or tweaking this one a little bit, saving it as a new version. And maybe have a different call to action on a different post or a different type of post. If it's a wedding category post, have a wedding call to action. If it's an engagement session, have an engagement call to action. Really cool stuff you can do there. All right, so now we're getting somewhere. We have a pretty good start. This was kind of like what we would have we used to have to do this in the customizer, and there were a lot more steps and less kind of point and click, drag and drop functionality, and now we can do all of that here. Let's go ahead and, oh, by the way, let's do this before we go on. I just want to show you in Elementor, you have this responsive mode, and you can see what this is going to look like on mobile. And you can make adjustments to a lot of these things specifically for mobile. So let's say that on the mobile version, you want, notice here, I can change the alignment for mobile. I can change anything that has this little icon right here where I can change it between the different types. I can change the line height, letter spacing. I can change the font size, all specifically for each device. So I go to tablet. You know, maybe I'm seeing, oh, I don't like this. I'm only editing the footer right now, so I'd have to go back and edit the header, but I could probably, you know, remove this or make this a little bit smaller or something like that on the tablet breakpoint so that this would work a little bit better. In fact, let's go ahead and do that just because I want to see how that works. I'm using the Pro version right now, so I can't tell you exactly what is included in the free version because I haven't used it in so long. I've had Pro since it came out, and so I would say it's totally worth it. But yeah, a lot of these features are Pro only. All right, let's go back over here and go to my templates and go to header and edit. Let's go to tablet. Let's see what we can do to help this. So one thing I could do is I could go to the hamburger menu. I don't really want to do that though. What I could do here is potentially maybe I can still make this section in general, this column, width. Okay, here we go. On mobile, I can make this column width smaller on tablet. So let's go to 10%. No. So I did 10, 15, so we want this to be 75. 750. Actually, I think 70 was right. There we go. All right, so now desktop, tablet, mobile. You know what? Let's hide this element on mobile. Or you know what? Let's just center it on mobile. Oh, we can't do that. That's not going to work because it's really just centered within this column. So if we on here, let's make this 100, and then let's center it, and just on mobile, let's make sure that the padding is 0. And actually, let's give it a little bit of top padding. Cool, huh? And I think you can toggle buttons, hamburger. I'm pretty sure you can add a word here as well, but I can't remember. All right, well, anyway, that's good enough. For a demo, that's good. All right, let's go ahead and head back over to the dashboard. And, well, what we want to do right now is we do want to go back to the customizer. And we want to go to layout, and we're going to go to the container. put everything in one container instead of having those little columns. This is part of the generate press. So every theme you use would have slightly different options here. We probably want to go to, we don't need the header at all because we're not using it. Navigation, we're not using it. Sidebars. I don't really want sidebars. I'm going to do the same thing here across the board because we'll use Elementor to change this. All right, and then let's see if we go back to there's got to be what if I don't want a container at all? I don't know how to handle that, honestly, but we're going to override it anyway. So it shouldn't matter. Let's just publish to get rid of those sidebars and stuff. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. When we have a couple of other things that we still potentially want to add templates for, like we might want to have a like a single template. So this is going to be single. Say we can set this for a post or a page. We're going to do one for pages. And we're not going to use any of this. We're going to start from scratch. I can't remember how to do that. It's probably one of these. Import, refresh, close. That's it. Alright, so if we come over here into, oh, it's under document settings, I think. We're going to set this to Elementor Canvas. No, not Canvas, full width, sorry. Canvas gets rid of the header and footer. Full width. It should override the entire width sections. Let me just add, I don't want to do that here. I do want to make this a default across everything. I know this is where I start to get into the weeds. I haven't done this a lot. Okay, again, this is new. The way that they've done their templating system has changed in the past month. So I haven't done this a lot yet. That was one of the reasons I wanted to do it live. It's just I'm kind of messing around here. We'll set it to go to all pages. I just kind of want to see what happens if I go to the home page. Okay, it's still not overriding the width. All right, let's see if there are any theme settings. Let's do this. We're going to go to let's just do this actually. Generate press full width page. That's not really helpful. Oh, don't. You gotta be kidding me. It's an add-on for Generate Press? This is in 2015. That's annoying. So if you're not interested in adding any of the add-ons and you don't know any CSS, you might not want to use Generate Press if you can't even do that. Again, I've used these a lot in the past, and a lot of times I just like quickly will add some CSS or something to fix this kind of thing. Let's go ahead and see what we can do with it. I'm not going to switch. Oh, look, we do have a premium modules. Don't want to spend too much time on this anyway. Just see what happens if we drop this in there. All right, so it's really quick CSS in this case. Boom. All right, now let's go ahead. We're not going to add any a page template right now. We don't really need to. Post templates we would definitely want to do eventually. In fact, we'll just add one really quick. Very quickly. And we'll add this, yep, single, add new, single post, create, and we're going to just use one of their templates for now. What? There was some there earlier. There. Oh, okay. Single. Yeah, we'll use this one. Cool, I like it. Yeah, we'll do that. That's fine. So the document settings are what I set over here. So like this is using the default, and I had it set to Elementor canvas across the site. That's what it was telling me. Or Elementor full width. Could still set it back to that. All right, well, this won't matter because right now we don't have any posts, but we'll hit publish. All posts. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go back to a page. We'll do the home page for right now. And we're going to edit with Elementor. I'm curious to see if it pulled in the document settings or not. The post content widget was not found. Blah, blah, blah. Post content widget in your template single. Oh. I see. Okay, so here's what's happening. What I have right now is that I created a template for all pages, right? And in that template, I haven't set a content area to pull dynamically from the actual page. So it's using kind of a default. It's nothing on every page, but at this point, I don't want anything. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go back really quick. I'm just gonna go ahead and delete the page template that I made. And now I'm going to go to Pages, Home, Edit with Elementor. Oh, I really don't like that it uses that. So one way to get rid of that is to go back over here and pick the Elementor full width. I should get rid of that. That was a part of the Generate Press page template. And basically what this is saying is don't use that. Use just a blank template. All right. Now we can edit this any kind of way we want. We can put whatever we want on this page. We can go add something from our library, where we add one of these pages if we want, which is cool. We can have a good starting point. Now I could take this and insert it on the page, and then I could edit from there. But I'm not going to do that at this point. I just want to add. I'm trying to think what I want to add. Any requests from the chat? Anything you would like to see me try to add to this page? So that's what we've got so far. What should we put here? Let me show you my favorite gallery plugin. So there are some galleries in Elementor, and we can use them. There's a ton of widgets here. There's some interesting, decent like carousels and things like that. Let's see, what are the ones we have here? Have image gallery. One of the things that I've always hated about the image gallery, I think I have to, I don't know if they fixed this yet. Style. Doesn't look like it. There's no way to do masonry, and the way that they do the thumbnails, like you have to have like the perfect images for it to really work. I've just never really felt very happy with the built-in gallery widget. Not the slides, but there's a carousel, media carousel. It's pretty good. You can do some cool stuff with it. It starts off like this, but you can kind of do like a horizontal scroll thing, kind of like what you were asking about. Like I've done it before with this, and essentially what you do is you make this the full screen, and you take away this nav down here. It doesn't have like the little scroll bar. You could add something that does. You'd have to just basically search for a WordPress plugin that does the horizontal scroll. There are plenty of them, okay? And you could add it in here. But I'm going to show you my favorite plugin. Nope, not upload, just search. Foo Gallery. Oh, I didn't mean to hit that. It doesn't really matter. That's basically letting them get feedback. Send me an email. All right, let's see. So we'll add a gallery, add media, upload files. I'll pull this over here because I don't know what I'm going to find on my hard drive. Let's see. Just going to like pull some random images in. Okay. Now we have gallery settings. There's different types of gallery. So if you go just look at Foo Gallery, and look at their website, you'll get some ideas of what kind of options they have. This is kind of the reason I like it, because it has like these really easy kind of masonry galleries and stuff. What I would like to see is how you can have galleries and feed them to the front page as thumbs. Oh, we can easily do that. All right, let's do that. Should only take a couple minutes. So what we'll do is, for now, we're just going to use the same gallery on everything. All right, so what we'll do is we'll create a couple of pages, and we'll just say like wedding. Let's make it a child of portfolio, just for the heck of it. You don't have to do that, but makes it like easy navigation. Engagement. We're just going to kind of make something up here. All right, we'll just do 3. All right, and actually what we'll do is we'll just, for now, we're not even going to use Elementor. We're just going to we're going to add this foo gallery with a short code to all of these. Oh, while we're at it, what we'll do is we'll set the featured image of this. So this one is weddings. We'll make sure we're using a wedding image. Okay. Pages, we'll go back to, we'll do engagements. I'm gonna add that foo gallery. You would add a separate foo gallery, like whichever foo gallery you wanted. And these are, I haven't even adjusted the settings or anything. So we need an engagement photo. I think this is all weddings, but whatever. We'll just pretend like this is an engagement photo. And a portrait. We need a featured image there. Let's make sure they're all horizontal just so that works. All right. And now we're going to go back to pages. We're going to go back to home and edit with Elementor. And we're going to add a posts grid. And in the, we'll adjust the settings in a minute, but in the query, we're going to use, we'll do manual selection because we only want 3 pages. And this is going to be wedding, portraits, and engagements. Boom, boom, boom. Layout. You know, we'll just okay, so what if you want it to be automatic? Then you would have to just set it up so that it is pulling in with the query has to be dynamic, okay? I'll show you what I mean by that in a sec. All So we're just going to update that. So then these galleries, okay, I haven't adjusted like the quality of these images. I could totally do that. Oh no. This is because of a setting in Generate Press, so I'd have to go through and make sure that I had something set for that. But it is a gallery. These are all really default, and they haven't been. I don't even have a light box activated that has a flip through. But anyway, you could totally add that kind of stuff. Okay, so if you wanted these to be like most recent galleries, then there's a couple of ways you would do that. One would be that you would want to do, let's just see what happens. If we try to do posts and we try to do, what is current query? Oh, I see. I don't want that. Posts. So I believe that there's a way to do custom post types, like a gallery post type here, but you could do it with posts, for example, and you could make these galleries on a blog post. So again, I don't know for sure how to set up a custom post type to pull in through that query, but if you wanted to make it a post, and let's say we added a new post and we called this cool gallery, and we still maybe used foo gallery, and we set up a gallery and then we inserted it with a short code like that, and then let's say we add a category and call this featured galleries, and we hit publish. It didn't get my category. Well, now I can go back over here and I can, oops. Yeah, let's reload it. I still need to go back over here and add a featured image. Okay, so we're adding a section. We're going to add the posts. And under query, we're going to choose posts, and we're going to choose categories. Whoops. Feature galleries. And again, we could adjust the styling of that, and it would always pull the most recent featured galleries. Anything we put in that category. Could have done it with tags. Could have done it, all kinds of different ways. And I'm sure there's a way to do it with custom post type. I just have to read on that and find out. But anyway, I think there's a lot of flexibility here, especially when you start adding other plugins that, like I said, if you want to do the scrolling thing, sure, do something like don't use this one. Real scroll. Like, that's not what we're looking for. Like, here's just one example of one. This one doesn't seem to have a grab and slide. It doesn't have the click on the ends, but maybe those are options. Maybe there's like a premium version. There's a ton of them. Like, I promise you can find one. And what you would do is you would just install this, you would set up the gallery, and then you would add that with a shortcode or whatever, and it would be there. So that's the cool thing about Elementor, is that you can do anything. I mean, I've built a ton of sites with Elementor, and they all look very different. Fuel your photos. Whoop, let's don't go to the WP admin. No. Okay. Fuel your photos is built on Elementor. I'm trying to think of some off the top of my head, but it's failing me right now. But I've got, several others that are, they're very, very different than this, and they're all using Elementor, and it's just super flexible. And this is even before you could do some of this stuff with the templates. So let's really quickly just take this and run it through GTmetrix. You do have to be careful when you start adding plugins to make sure that they're going to be following best practices and that they're going to be lightweight and all that kind of stuff. So it does get challenging, and maybe you'll find something where it's like it's just not worth it. It would be better to have a theme that just did all this right off the bat. See, that's loading 1.3 seconds. 480 kilobytes. And that's, no caching. It's not really, it's not HTTPS. It's not, there are ways we could get that well under a second with that little bit of image load on the front page. But, right off the bat, not even optimized, 1.3 seconds is good. Page Builder is not really slowing anything down. Only 40 requests. Sometimes you'll see page builders add like 100 requests just from the page builder or something stupid like that. All right, well, anyway, I just wanted to kind of talk about this and show you why I would use this if I were setting something up. If I weren't going to do this, then I would say my next option would probably be flow themes. And I can actually see what happens if I pull this up. So one of the really cool things about flow themes is that they have their own proprietary page builder. It's pretty cool. It's really flexible. It's taking a long time to load. So this is an older, this is probably a few months old, and I think they've been updating somehow this works. But you can choose a template here for your layout. And then once you get on your layout, like every little section is its own block, and they can be, dragged around, and then inside of that section you have settings, and you change your what it says here, and you've got a whole bunch of stuff in here. So it's really cool. Like, they are really smart with design, and there are a few things that I disagree with about the way that the majority of their themes work and conversion and stuff, but overall they know a lot about conversion, and I think that they make it easy to do the right things, and I think a lot of people just don't, and it's not really flow themes. It's not the fault of flow themes. And so, if I wanted something that was already professionally designed, like looked like it was professionally designed, you could go and buy a flow theme for $200 or $300 or whatever they are, and install it and set it up, and your site would look like a $10,000 website, because they've just got their designs down. They've got all the little animations and fonts already chosen, and the spacing is right already. You don't have to worry about any of that, right? It's a no-brainer, in my opinion. Like, it's just such an easy option. After all this stuff, I'm telling you all of this because I like this flexibility. I want to be able to build whatever I want. If I wanted to take the flow theme site and break it down and build it exactly with Elementor, I could absolutely do that. And I wouldn't, I'm not going to infringe on their copyright and stuff, their exact layout. But what I'm saying is I could totally make anything with this, and I've got control over I can add CSS to every block, and I can just do whatever I want. I like that. I really do. I love this flexibility with these templates in this new version of Elementor. It just makes me excited to be able to do all that kind of stuff. I use the advanced features. I use custom post types. I use advanced custom fields. I'm using all of that stuff, right? But if I weren't, and I didn't ever want to do any of that, I would totally just go with flow themes. Such an easy option. And ProPhoto, it has the same ability. Like if you're gonna use ProPhoto, you have, like, in my opinion, you should not use ProPhoto like you would use Elementor. Period. Do not buy ProPhoto because it's a page builder that's flexible and you can do whatever you want with it, unless you're a designer and you just like the way that ProPhoto works. It works the way your brain works, and it would for some people. It's the right thing. But if you're a photographer and you buy ProPhoto, absolutely, without question, buy one of their premium themes. Again, you can spend $200 or $300 plus whatever the cost of the theme ProPhoto is now. I think it might be $200. Even if it's $500 you're spending total, you will have a site that looks brilliant, incredibly well designed. They're going to include their tiles, and they're going to include the font choices and blocks and spacing, and all of that's going to be done for you, and you just like change the text, add your logo, whatever. As long as that fits with the style that you're going for, an option like ProPhoto, an option like Flow Themes is really smart for a lot of photographers. But for me, the guy who wants to like do everything custom and like have the flexibility, if I want to go in here and add some really cool custom features, like I really hope certain people are not watching this. There's only 3 people watching right now, but it's going to be live on the channel. So I can't imagine ever using something like Showit or Squarespace whenever this is available. Whenever I have this kind of flexibility within Elementor and WordPress, why would I use anything like Showit that has a proprietary page builder? I mean, sure, you could say like Elementor is a proprietary, but it's open source. It's all the code's out there. You can add on to it. You know, they're always improving it and staying up with technology. Yeah, maybe I can't like drag this block and like turn it to the side and have some funky like weird off-kilter design, and it's not as easy to add like canvas views, and there's some kind of cool stuff you can do and show it, but man, you could just do pretty much anything like that here. And same thing with Squarespace. Like you could easily build anything you could build with Squarespace with Elementor, and you could just like literally go copy a Squarespace template. Just go look at one of their templates and copy it. Again, not saying you should like infringe on any copyrights of like very specific layouts and logos and that kind of stuff, but in general, like the way that things are laid out is typically not something that there's going to be 100 other sites that are like that anyway, and they're using it as a design. Let me just show you one. Blank install. I think that's one of them. So here's an example. Pull it over here. This one was one that I modeled after a Squarespace theme or template. Hayden. I call it Hey Denver. See what I did there? And it acts just like that Hayden does by default. And I didn't like I was just using this to experiment a long time ago. But I made this in a couple of hours, and it's using Elementor, the older versions, before you could even do all the cool stuff you can do now with the headers. And I had to do some of that with custom CSS, but now you don't have to. But I mean, obviously these are like not cleaned up and everything. I did them really fast, kind of like what I was doing earlier tonight. But the idea is that I can build something like this, or I got a couple more I'll pull up. Kindling, similar. This one's another one that's basically the same thing. I think I just was adding a couple different features. I was using a different kind of short code there to use a contact form. Here's one built on Elementor with like a pretty grid here. Okay, you see the the animation of this stuff coming in. This one was one that got developed out a lot more, and she decided not to use it after we had worked on it. But like, that was built in Elementor. This kind of stuff is so easy to do once you get the hang of it, and spend some time with it. Okay, we got a few viewers. If there's any other questions anybody has, I'd be happy to answer them. I'll just kind of hang out here for a second. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions. If you can't post on the YouTube video because you're not signed in, you want to go post in the Facebook group, I'm hanging out here. I can like look at both. So far, I'm glad that you were able to kind of see what it can do, some of the capabilities. We only scratched the surface. I think you know that it's very powerful and flexible. You can do a lot of stuff. It does require more time up front and some practice, learning how to use everything, learning the little quirks of it, and getting your design to look exactly like you want and adjusting it across the board. But once you get it, man, it's so cool to be able to just easily go in there and change something, or it's pretty future proof. Other than the thing I was talking about with Gutenberg earlier, it's a great setup. I really like it. Exactly, you got it. More time up front, but then more flexibility in the long run. And you're gonna have to pay the $50 one time and $25 a year or whatever, but you're not having to pay, like when ProPhoto 7 came out, even if you just bought ProPhoto 6, you've got to pay $100 to upgrade or whatever. And hey, what's up? Veselin? I'm not sure how you say your name exactly. Let me know if it's different than what I just said. How you doing? If you have any questions about WordPress themes for photographers, we went over a bunch of stuff here. And yeah, it's been an hour and 40 minutes. I was just kind of going over stuff and playing around, learning. I was learning myself new things about Elementor, and I've never used king size theme. I don't know what that is. Let me pull it up. King size. Alright, so I did mention earlier I am not a fan of theme forest in general. I talked about it a little bit why earlier, but that doesn't mean there aren't good things on theme forest. Typically, I found that people do not update their theme forest themes as often. They don't usually have great support. They're usually a little more out of date. Typically, what I've found is that most things on theme forest are built from low-end dev shops where they are hiring people. They're outsourcing the majority of the coding, and I do a lot of outsourcing myself. I don't have any problems with that. I mean, I work with people in Philippines and India, and I understand like the economics of you know, having to be able to pay someone a lower salary that's still a good living wage for them. I get that. But it does come at a cost whenever that's your main model and you don't have any quality assurance and you don't have anyone to give full support in. Well, for me, it's important to have English support. For someone else, it might not be. Maybe you're in a different country and it's not an issue to you. But that kind of stuff, it does make a difference. That when the notation of a theme, like I've gone into so many ThemeForce themes and like looked at the CSS and saw that it was notated in another language or really broken English and I couldn't even understand what was going on, and that kind of stuff just isn't a good experience. So those are some of the things I don't like about ThemeForest in general. But again, that comes from someone who is a developer and speaks English, and that could be a problem for me and not someone else. I don't love the fact that this is like all there is on this page is a menu and a slider, and this menu like sticks right down in the middle of this slider. So it's like I just want to sit here and watch these photos, but I've got this huge menu right in the middle. So I probably would never use something like this personally. So I can't really speak too much like about how it works or anything else. And as far as saying, yeah, hey, my current one's from ThemeForest and I've been happy with it for some years, but it took me a long time to find it. Yeah, and like I said earlier, I found those guys on Color Melon. You know, let's look at one of theirs. I think this one does horizontal scrolling for you as far. I mean, see, that looks really pretty to me. If your main thing is blogging, this one might be, oh, there's the horizontal scroll. That's a portfolio. The portfolios are horizontal. Hey, maybe this is a good option for you. Luca. Oh no, I hate that cover photo. More horizontal scrolling. So yeah, check out Color Melon. Apparently, same taste. Anyway, all right, I'm gonna head on out tonight. I gotta get to work and do a little bit more. It's already 10 p.m. here, and I need to make some other videos for clients and get some more work done. I'm gonna be here till about midnight. Gotta get here again early in the morning, so I'm gonna go do that now. I just wanted to kind of hang out here for a while and do this. I've been wanting to dig into the new Elementor and play around with it some. Hey, I'm glad you're here. Glad you watch pretty often, and feel free to ask questions in the group anytime. I hope to jump on and do more lives like this, so make sure you subscribe on YouTube, because then you'll get a notification whenever I go live, and I hope to be talking to y'all soon. All right, bye.